Hi, I'm back, and long time no see, I guess. I'm very, very aware that the channel has been pretty quiet in the last half year or even a bit longer than that. And I'm very happy to finally be sitting in front of the camera again and recording another video for you. But I think it's kind of odd to just disappear and then reappear without any context, which is why I decided to sit down and record this little video for you before we get to the main video, to just let you know what has been going on without getting too personal. So basically, I have to admit that the last year has probably been the hardest year I ever had to encounter in my life so far, with a lot of personal losses and some big changes in my life, where my life has pretty much been turned upside down from one day to the other. And also a lot of work stress in the middle of that, with me finishing my degree as a psychotherapist, which just left me in a position where I had absolutely zero resources to do anything creative. I wasn't even feeling inspired in the slightest way, because I was honestly just in survival mode. And I wouldn't say that it's all done and I worked through everything. There's still some hard days, but overall now I've been feeling way, way, way better. And I feel the creative spark again, which is why I just wanted to let you know that it's been hard, but I'm back. And I'm, very, very happy to create again, to publish more projects. I will be publishing some projects from the past, some things I've recorded last year but didn't get the hang to edit all of them, and also some new projects I've been working on. So yeah, I'm very excited to talk to you more regularly again. Of course, there's also some anxiety tied to not being active on YouTube and not knowing how the algorithm will handle that. But honestly, this also doesn't really matter, because I'm so grateful for everybody who stuck around, for everybody who's tuning in again, and all the kind and concerned messages who reached me in the time when I wasn't really publishing anything. So I just wanted to let you know I'm back. There will be videos again. I'm very, very excited for this journey. And I'm very excited for this video as well, because it's a very personal video, but I think also a video that a lot of people can relate, who maybe felt stuck in their life or in the location that they are currently based in. So yeah, without any further ado, I would say welcome back. Happy to be here, and enjoy this video and the hopefully many more videos that are yet to come. Okay, let's one take this. This video is sponsored by Veloy. If you've lived in a place for a long time, it can be hard to find things to photograph that interest you. At least this has been the case for me after living in the same place for over 10 years. I get bored, feel uninspired by my surroundings, and sometimes feel like there is nothing for me to photograph out here anymore. And then I wonder if the problem is really the city, or if it's me. If you feel like this wherever you are on the globe, then this video might be for you. In this video, I will challenge myself to look at my city with a fresh pair of eyes, and hopefully share some insights on how to overcome feeling stuck.
It's honestly a very weird photo with this and this in my hand.
Well, it is authentic, I'd say.
The occasion for this little experiment was when a friend of mine came to visit me in my city. And the friend is no other than Teo Crawford, whom you might already know from his fantastic photographic work and amazing YouTube channel.
Der Anfänger hier.
Firstly, let's take a look at what city we're even talking about here. I live in Münster in Westfalen, which is a medium-sized city in the northwest of Germany with around 320,000 inhabitants. Münster is a very typical student city with around 20% of the population being students, which was also the reason that brought me here in the first place. I moved here to study almost 13 years ago at this point, which is crazy to say out loud, and I kind of never left due to the long duration of my degree.
It's fun because Theo is stopping like every 2 minutes and he's saying, oh, this looks pretty, I like this building. Oh, look at that. And I'm like, oh, you're right, actually. I'm just keep on forgetting because I've been living here for so long.
So yes, Münster is beautiful and has a well-preserved old town. It's also known for the amount of bicycles and churches. And yet I find it kind of hard to find the beauty in it, mostly because I've seen every street and every corner like 1,000 of times. course, we visited some of the main spots first, the historical Old Town. The Old Town was pretty destroyed in World War II, but rebuilt as authentically as possible. So, to this day, you can see many buildings that contain some of the intact structures in darker stone, with the rebuilt structures on top of it.
So I just told you that I haven't been in this specific part of the city in years. I don't know why, but I just usually pass it and I never, make the effort to enter this little alleyway. And it's so nice to actually rediscover places that I know I like and enjoy. So it's very nice to be able to see the city you've been familiar with for so long with a fresh pair of eyes. And also autumn is coming and I love autumn. The city is so beautiful when, the fall colors start to happen. So this is my favorite time of the year, also photographically the best. So Theo just cracked up on this thing here. It's a Fahrradpumpstation, which means as much as a bicycle pumping station, but the sheer fact that you have a sign for this, so German, so German.
It's exactly what Austrians look at it and it's like, oh, that's so German. Yeah, duh, we're in Germany. But it's so apparent in so many ways.
My first idea to be able to switch up my perception of my city was to use gear that I usually wouldn't use. And since Theo came on this trip to learn more about the Leica M system, we spontaneously decided to just trade cameras.
Ta-da!
Magic moment.
Well, pretty similar, just a little bit harder than plastic.
Yes.
I gave Theo my M6 and used his Ricoh TF900 for a big portion of the day.
I can't believe I'm capturing the first moment Theo has with my Leica.
Das ist ja richtig schwierig. Damit fokussieren ist ja richtig schwer.
Siehst du denn diesen kleinen Kasten in
Ja,
dem
voll,
Sucher?
voll. Es ist so super ungewohnt.
Did you ever have a Leica in your hands before? Is it the first time?
Don't know. I might have tried Flo's Leica once, just
You
like
don't
hold
know? You said you don't know. You forgot if you ever had one.
No, I mean as in like I held it for 10 seconds.
Okay.
But like actually used, never though.
The Botanical Garden is another beautiful spot in the city I sometimes tend to forget, which was the perfect backdrop to get started with our new cameras. The Ricoh TF900 is a fun little camera that lets you switch between focal lengths, either 35mm or 70mm. And since 70mm is a focal length I almost never use, I tried sticking to it more, even though Theo warned me about the slightly unreliable focus on that one. Instead of the cheap consumer-grade films I usually tend to use in point-and-shoot cameras, I decided to go for some Portra 400 for my first roll and definitely wasn't disappointed.
I think that's about it, yeah.
Maybe I will actually take advantage of it because you have my first shot.
This is honestly a very weird photo with this and this in my hand.
So why is it that places we know so well stop feeling interesting to us? I think the answer is simpler than we might expect, because it's in fact not the place, but our attention. There's a psychological concept called habituation, which describes getting used to a specific feeling over time. Our brains are incredibly good at filtering out familiar things. Once we get exposed to the same stimuli over and over again, they get classified as known, as safe, as unremarkable, and therefore also get deprioritized in our perception. Our brains simply stop actively processing our surroundings, which helps to not get overwhelmed by the sheer amount of things we encounter every day. But the downside is that after years of walking the same streets, our brains have essentially gotten desensitized to the whole city, causing a less intense reaction to what we see. Over the past months, I've been thinking about what actually helps and how to be able to break the habituation in order to feel more inspired by my hometown again. And I came to the conclusion that everything helps that disrupts the usual pattern. So, for example, showing a friend like Theo around the city, seeing his curiosity and excitement about an unfamiliar place to him can be contagious and also widen our perception again. But before I share some more thoughts on breaking patterns, I would like to take a quick break to thank the sponsor of this video, Valoy. For this video I ordered lab scans, but when I don't, this is what I actually use for scanning. My Velo Easy 35 for 35mm film or Easy 120 for medium format and smaller formats. The Velo Easy system is an uncomplicated, ready-to-go home scanning solution. It's basically a light-tight box with an integrated LED light and interchangeable film holders. All you need is any digital camera with a lens, preferably a macro lens, to get the highest resolution out of your negatives. The best thing about it is that it attaches directly to your camera lens via these extension tubes, so that you don't have to get the perfect spacing and angle between your negatives and your camera sensor. Compared to a classic camera scanning setup using a tripod or a copy stand, you don't have to fiddle around with getting the placement of the camera right, and you also don't have to block out all the light in your room to avoid stray light. All you do is insert your film, take a photo and move on to the next frame. This time I ordered lab scans to be able to show you a little comparison. Scanning in an entire roll of film takes less than 5 minutes, and all you need to do is to convert the raw photos of the negatives into positives by using a dedicated software like Negative Lab Pro or Smart Convert. So, in my opinion, film scanning has never been easier, and if you've been thinking about digitizing your negatives yourself, this is certainly one of the best entry points to home scanning. If you're interested in learning more about the Velo Easy 35 or Easy 120, I've made dedicated videos about my whole workflow with it that you can check out here. And in case you're interested in trying out any of the Velo products, you can get 10% off by using the link in the description box. Once again, thank you to Velo for sponsoring this video and saving on costs for lab scans, especially if your city doesn't even have a lab like in my case. But now, back to the video. Using unfamiliar gear as I did here is another way to break the pattern. I'm a big fan of constraints to tickle creativity in general, but using a camera, a focal length or a film that is untypical for you also helps to not fall back on muscle memory alone. That little friction it causes is actually the point in my opinion. It's a small change but breaks the automatic pilot and forces you to navigate a familiar place in a novel way. Another thing I keep circling back to is documenting change. Cities are never static, even when they feel that way. Buildings get torn down, new ones go up, a shop you've passed quietly for years closes, and suddenly you realize you've never once photographed it. If you return to the same spots over time, time becomes visible in your images. You start noticing the gradual shifts you would otherwise miss completely. And there's something quietly powerful about having a record of a place before it changes.
So as annoying as they are, I actually like construction sites and all that, especially, documenting them in the city where I live, because these are the small changes that won't be there forever, just like a moment in time. So I think it's important to capture those.
And maybe the most counterintuitive one, I learned that photographing what I found boring helps immensely. Photograph the things that feel too ordinary to photograph, that are so intertwined with your everyday life that you don't notice them. Because those are the images that 5, 10, 20 years from now will feel the most precious. Because ordinary life has an expiry date, even if it doesn't feel like it right now.
Wohl bekommst? A bit of an outfit change. Because it started raining, which is actually a common occurrence in Münster, so I'm not surprised. I should have known before, didn't pack rain clothes, but now I changed. And actually, the sun is coming out again, so I do think we need to get going and get some more shots. And Teo, of course, is already at it.
Oh, bist gerade fertig geworden.
Last one.
For my second roll of film, I tried this weird-looking pharmacy film that I got from my friend Alex a while ago, which, surprise, surprise, turned out to be regular Fuji C200 with a little twist. Do you have any idea what this hole in the film might be for?
Das ist ein normaler Fuji Color 200. Hä?
Vielleicht ist da was anderes draufgerollt.
Also ist ein Punkt drinnen.
Over the past months, I've learned a lot about appreciating what's in front of me. I realized that my dissatisfaction from living in the same city for so long has less to do with the city itself than it has to do with me. Yes, I take the beauty of my own city for granted, and therefore oftentimes overlook the interesting things, the subtle changes or the unique aspects about it. But here's the other part I also need to acknowledge. Sometimes, even after all that, a place still doesn't feel right anymore. And that's not a failure or a mistake or a lack of trying, but sometimes you've genuinely outgrown somewhere and no amount of fresh eyes or bored curiosity can fully change that.
So Theo, what's your Münster verdict or Zwischenfazit so far?
Zwischenfazit. Especially around the university, I really enjoyed the part with all the greenery. As I told you, 50 greenery, 50 urban, that's a good balance in my opinion. I also really appreciate all the brown red bricks because it adds a lot of colour.
And warmth.
Yeah, and it's something I miss in Austria. We don't really have those. A lot of the older architecture tends to be beige, which, you know, the brownish colour can be nice and all. But also I feel like you have more vegetation here. I feel like Austria can sometimes feel a bit dry of vegetation. It's like, yeah, we have beautiful buildings, but it's just building and concrete. It's nothing else. And here I feel like some things are a bit old, so the plants are taking it over, which has its own charm. It's quite beautiful.
I've made a decision recently that I haven't talked about on here yet. I've decided that the Münster chapter is coming to a close. I don't know exactly when, and I don't know exactly where I'm going, so both of these things are still pretty much up in the air. But if I'm honest, well, I'm terrified. There's this fear of getting it wrong, of making a terrible mistake, and I'm scared that I'll be confronted with a lot of discomfort and difficulties of starting over somewhere new and maybe eventually looking back at Münster with the kind of longing that you only develop for places that you've left. The goodbye doesn't have to be final. Münster has been my home for almost 13 years and will always hold a part of my story. Therefore, I wouldn't rule out coming back one day, but right now what draws me more than the comfort of the familiar is the discomfort of the unknown. A new city where I haven't yet walked every street, haven't yet photographed every corner, and maybe haven't even decided what I think of it yet. After all, I realized that the decisions I regretted the most in life so far were the paths I haven't taken out of fear.